Hi everyone, and thank you very much to give me the opportunity to do this presentation today. I will be presenting the Peer Community in and Peer Community Journal initiative. This initiative was launched 6 years ago by three INRAE researchers, Denis Bourguet, Benoît Facon, and Thomas Guillemot. INRAE is the French Research Institute for Food, Agriculture and Environment. And so I will present how this initiative goes from preprint recommendation to Diamond Open Access publication. So this initiative was launched because we are facing several problems in traditional scientific publishing. First, there are quality issues in published articles, problem of low power of statistical analysis, problem of harking, which is the process of putting the hypothesis after the results are known, problems of p-hacking, which is also a problem of disconnecting the results from the statistical analysis. Problem with the raw data, which are very often not available. The methods are also not enough detailed nor complete. Parameters are also not often described, and the scripts and codes are not available. And all these lead to a lack of reproducibility, up to 60%, depending on the field. The second problem is a very inefficient peer review system, a very long process with submission and rejection in cascade in different journals, which leads to a long delay, up to 2 years to read a paper. It's also a waste of evaluation effort and also a growing issue of lack of reviewers available. Third problem, this peer review system is not transparent. The reviews are very often hidden, as well as the editorial decisions. The editor is most of the time not known, and the conflict of interest are also not disclosed. The traditional publication system is a very closed system, and most of the publications are behind paywalls. So these figures are now perhaps a bit old, but still this paywall situation is still valid. And of course, you know, as librarians, that it's a very costly system with very high profit margins. So at the scale of France, it represents 118 million per year. At the European scale, it's 3 billion per year, and at the world scale, it's 10 billion euros per year. So if you divide by the number of articles that are published each year, you get a cost of 3,000 euros per article. And if you compare these margins with the margins of the GAFA or in other business lines, so the profit margin for the main publishers are really, really high. It's a system where you pay twice because the library pays subscription, the laboratories pay APCs to have the articles in open access, but also you pay even thrice because the research institution pay researchers to write, to evaluate, and to edit the article. So the Peer Community initiative was launched for researchers to reclaim the scientific publication system. So this Peer Community in and Peer Community Journal is a double publication system. So Peer Community in organizes the peer review and the recommendation of preprints, and Peer Community Journal, PCJ, publishes recommended articles in open access for free with the Diamond Open Access model. The aim of PCI is to create communities of researchers that are handling the evaluation of through peer review and the recommendation of preprints in their scientific fields. These fields can be very varied. There is a PCI in ecology, evolutionary biology, genomics, etc. And the preprints can be deposited on any open archive or preprint server. So how does this system work? First of all, the authors deposit their manuscript, data, and code. So their data, scripts, and code on a repository and their manuscript on a preprint server. And then the authors submit the DOI of this preprint on the PCI website. Then one of the recommenders, which is the equivalent of the journal associate editors, can decide to handle the article and then to start a peer review process exactly as it would be organized in a journal, which means that this recommender invites reviewers, gets review reports, then ask the authors to revise their article, which they publish on the preprint, they deposit on the preprint server until the revised version is accepted by the recommender. So the recommended preprint, the final version, is deposited on the preprint server, so with open access, of course. And the recommendation, which is the editorial decision and the reviews, is published on the PCI website, also with open access and with a DOI. So here you have an example of a recommendation on the PCI Evolutionary Biology website. So you have here the preprint, so the title of the preprint and the link to this preprint on the preprint server. You have the link to the data, code, and scripts. And below this, you have the recommendation text, so the editorial decision with the references. And even if you go to a recommendation page, you can see all the peer review history below. So you have here the link to the valid, findable, and citable article, so the PCI recommended preprint. And here, with the recommendation, you have a published, citable, and argued editorial decision. This system is already recognized by several evaluation committees, mostly in France because the initiative is a French initiative, but also it starts to be recognized abroad. It's also, and that's very important, recognized by the Coalition S organization as of equivalent merit and status as peer-reviewed publication that are published in a recognized journal. So this announcement was made a bit more than 1 year ago in July 22. And this is a very important step for the recognition of our initiative. But still, even if the recommended article is a valid article and even is acknowledged by several institutions, researchers for their career, for their evaluation, they can need a published journal article. And that's why we thought about ways to do that. So there are actually 3 ways to publish a recommended article if you want to go further the PCI recommended preprint step. The first way is to publish directly the recommended article in peer community journal with diamond open access. The second way is to submit it to a PCI-friendly journal. And of course, you can still submit to any journal. So what are PCI-friendly journals? So there are 3 categories of them. The first category of these journals, so they accept the submission of recommended article, and they committed to accept, if the article is in the scope of the journal, to accept it without further reviews. So here we have a few journals in various fields, and there are many PCR registered report friendly journals in this category. The second category is are journals that committed to give a fast response within 5 days to pre-submission inquiries of the authors. So they can decide either to accept the article without further reviews, or to decide to send the article for another peer review round, or they tell the author that they are not interested, but they should do it within a few days. And so here again, many journals in different fields. And the last category of these journals just committed to consider the submission of PCI recommended articles, and they might use the evaluation of PCI if they are adequate, so they do not commit for more of things. And here again, several journals. So these lists of journals evolve. There are several journals that decide to become PCI friendly journals. So on our website there is the complete list. So peer community journal is the faster and quicker, the faster and direct way to publish a recommended article. So this journal was launched nearly 2 years ago by the Peer Community in Association. So it accepts as is any and only recommended articles. It's free for readers and authors because it's a Diamond Open Access journal. Since it was launched, there are more than 250 articles published, and we published the 100th article for 2023 last week. There are 17 sections, 1 per active PCI. The articles are published with a CC BY license. And we are getting the journal indexed in several databases. It's already indexed in the DOAJ, and it's under consideration by the Web of Science. And we will also apply to Scopus at the end of the year, because you have the journal has to be at least 2 years old to apply. So as a summary, with 1 recommended preprint, you have 4 options. Either you stop here, and because the recommended article can be found, accessed, and cited. You can publish the article directly in Peer Community Journal. You can submit your article in one of the PCI-friendly journals, or you can submit the article to other journals. So this model has many benefits. First, it really costs less to research agencies than paying for Gold Open Access, for example, because the cost per paper is really less expensive. It promotes reproducibility in research because the data, scripts, and codes are available. It's a model that promotes also the transparency because the evaluation, the decisions, and the sources of fundings are published. It's a system that evaluates the reviewer's efforts because with 1 recommendation, if you want to publish your recommended article, you can use the recommendation in any journal, if the journal agrees, of course. The workload is also shared because it's shared among the community of recommenders who handle the evaluation of the articles, and there are many of them. It's a way to valorize the researchers' editorial work as recommenders. because the recommendation, the editorial decision, are citable with the DOI. So the researchers can include these in their list of contributions. It's an independent system which is fully operated by researchers as the Glossa journal. It's also a system that prevents economic publication bias. There is no link between the income and the number of articles that are published. It's a model with where the decisions are collective. It's a community-based organization. And finally, it's a multidisciplinary model because you can create a PCI in any research field. A few figures. There are 17 peer communities so far. More than 1,000 articles that were submitted to these PCIs, and more than 600 of these submitted articles that actually were recommended. We have a median time from submission to the first decision, which is a bit more than 50 days. So it's really, compared to many journals, it's really a good time for evaluation. I will talk a bit more of the PCI manifesto afterwards. We have of course, many registered users on the websites. So, as I said before, the workload is shared between the recommenders because there is a high number of recommenders. So this is the total number of recommenders for all the PCIs, and it can go up to 400 for only one PCI, such as the PCI ecology, for example. So it's a very large number of recommenders. We have also a high number of researchers involved in the managing board of each of the PCI. Of course, many reviewers that are involved in the initiative. Nearly 100 friendly journals, and of course, this I will detail also after, many supporting organizations. Here is the list of all the existing PCIs. So the first one was created in evolutionary biology because the three researchers at the origin of the project were actually working in this field. And so you can see that there are really many different fields. And here you can see that a PCI was specially dedicated to registered reports. And this PCI is getting a lot of submissions. So it's really a model that has been successful so far. And the last PCI that was created this year was the first PCI in social sciences. And we have a few more PCIs for which some researchers said that they were really interested to launch them. And we are receiving, of course, an increasing number of submissions overall, the PCIs. How does PCIs work? How is it financed? So we, as the consortium of Glossa works, we also receive financial supports from research organizations and universities. We received an important help from the French National for Open Science, the French National Fund for Open Science, and of course from many French universities, again, because the initiative was launched in France, but we are getting also help from universities from other countries. Supports from North America, also many supports from the United Kingdom, and from other European organizations. We also get support from some scientific societies and network, and from consortia, scientific consortia, and we have links, of course, with all the open archives organizations. 3 years ago, we received the award from Library Innovation from the LIBER Association. And we are involved in a pilot project with COAR for the interoperability of the preprint servers with the PCI system. So how to get involved? The first way to get involved for a researcher would be to sign and share the manifesto that we published on our website a bit more than 1 year ago. So by this manifesto, the researchers commit to submit at least one of their best article to a PCI. And if this article is recommended, they commit to publish it in the peer community journal. And so we have reached more than 1,000 signatures so far. So apart from the submission of articles and the publication in the journal, a way to support us is to join as a reviewer or as a recommender. Researchers are also, of course, welcome to suggest the creation of a new PCI. So we have a blog post on this topic, on the different steps to create a new PCI. We also this year launched a series of events which are the PCI webinars. And so we got the last one was about registered reports in September, and the next one will be on research on research actually, how to improve the peer review on interventional research. And so a way also to support peer community is also to participate in real open science with publishing Diamond Open Access and in Society, University Journal, etc. And of course, you can follow us on social media. We have a Mastodon account. We are also on X and on LinkedIn, and you are very welcome to visit our websites for the peer community and for peer community journal.